Hello everyone, and welcome to Tony's Comic Spotlight. In this weekly episodic series, I spotlight some of the best comics put to print.
In this week's episode, we celebrate the first appearance of Tony Masters, aka the Taskmaster, by shining the spotlight on Avengers issue number 196 from 1980.
If you are enjoying the content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos. Feel free to leave a comment as well. I hope you enjoy the videos. And now, on to our featured story. The Avengers in The Terrible Toll of the Taskmaster. The stories continue from the last issue. The Taskmaster holds Yellow Jacket, the Wasp, and Ant-Man captives. Their shrinking powers neutralized. The heroes question who he is, and he obliges by relating his history. The Taskmaster was born with photographic reflexes, the ability to instantly mimic any type of physical skill, including hand-to-hand combat maneuvers that he observes. Just by watching news reports of superheroes, he became adept at the fighting styles of Spider-Man, Captain America, and Iron Fist, among others. He admits that he once considered becoming a superhero, but opted to pursue a criminal career instead, since that's where the money lied. Yet he also shrewdly realized that supervillains who make up public spectacles of themselves tended to more often get defeated by heroes and sent to jail. So instead of trying to be a criminal mastermind, he chose to train flunkies to serve those types of villains. He has been successfully running an underground operation of training academies for several years. At that point, he begins to take out his anger at Dr. Solomon, whose indiscretions, having his lab men created a clone, Saab, led to the three heroes discovering his secret school. Solomon begs for mercy, and the Taskmaster throws him a bone by tossing him a firearm and giving him one chance to take him down before he kills him. The flustered Solomon, who has never actually fired a gun before, disappoints the Taskmaster, who doesn't even have to try to deflect the shot. Yet before Taskmaster can take Solomon out himself, the hapless elder man drops dead of a stress-related heart attack. Taskmaster dismisses him as a wimp. Outside the compound, the main Avengers team remain unaware that the insect-themed heroes have been captured and await their return. Iron Man reflects on whether he should cede leadership to the team to Captain America, who is a natural leader. However, in the middle of his thought, he notices ants crawling all over his faceplate. The Avengers realize that this must be a signal from Ant-Man, and the team bursts into the academy. The team confronts the Taskmaster. Yellow Jacket explains to the villain that Ant-Man had just enough time to send out the ants to alert the team before he took away his control helmet. As the Avengers stride in, they are initially taken by surprise by the Institute's small army and weapon capabilities, but quickly engage the flunkies in combat. Meanwhile, Saab, who's been kept on a leash nearby this whole time, conks an Academy guard on the head, takes his blaster, and blasts the shackles, holding Yellow Jacket, Wasp, and Ant-Man. Wasp thanks them with a friendly peck on the cheek, and the three heroes join the fray. As the Avengers battle an army of trainees, Iron Man and Captain America break away from the main group to take on the Taskmaster. Iron Man is shocked at the villain's ability to effortlessly counter Captain America's moves. After stunning Iron Man, the Taskmaster is tempted to try to single-handedly defeat the Avengers one by one. However, he determines that the smarter course of action would be to make his escape rather than try to gratify his ego. As he flees down the corridor to his hoverplane, the Taskmaster finds Jocasta has slipped ahead of him and is blocking his way. He attempts to waylay her, but she neutralizes his attacks with a force field, adding a few humorous quips as she does so. The rest of the Avengers catch up to them and corner the Taskmaster. He admits that he can't take on the whole team at once and uses a trick arrow to distract the team with a blinding flash. The day's heroes fail to stop him before he makes a full getaway. Jocasta's actions are applauded by Captain America, who apologized for himself and the other Avengers' tendency to overlook her contributions to the team in the past. The end. Taskmaster has photographic reflexes. The official name for Taskmaster's abilities is photographic reflexes. This means that upon observing a technique or movement, Taskmaster is able to perfectly replicate it. For example, if he were watching a kung fu film, Taskmaster would be able to replicate all of the moves in the film. However, his abilities are limited in several ways. Firstly, he wouldn't suddenly know Kung Fu just by watching the film. Instead, he would only know the moves that were in the film. Any move or technique outside of the film would need to be acquired separately. Secondly, Taskmaster can't duplicate force, only movement. This means that a punch delivered by Captain America, a genetically enhanced super soldier, would do far more damage than a punch from Taskmaster, even though both punches were delivered in identical manners. Taskmaster's childhood. Taskmaster first discovered his abilities while watching a Western film. After a big fight scene, he discovered that he could spin a lasso just as easily as the actor had. A few years later, Taskmaster found himself to be the quarterback of his high school football team simply by watching videos of pro players on TV. Shortly after high school, Taskmaster would realize all the potentials that his talents possessed for him. He soon began to use his abilities for profit and eventually killing. Taskmaster's name. As he began building a reputation, Taskmaster eventually decided that he needed a name under which to operate. Though the name Taskmaster may itself appear rather cheesy at first, he actually pulled his inspiration from his fellow character Spymaster. From those unfamiliar, Spymaster is typically an Iron Man villain who is also an expert in hand-to-hand combat, though several people have come to call themselves Spymaster over the years. Almost all of them are highly trained in hand-to-hand combat. Likewise, since Taskmaster's own abilities involve the use of hand-to-hand combat, it is only fitting that the two share a similar name. The School of Henchmen. Shortly after assuming the name Taskmaster, he formed a school that's purpose was to teach and train henchmen for villains. As such, Taskmaster would of course be a great instructor, as he had highly become skilled in various forms of hand-to-hand combat at this point. It is also rumored that he instructed people like Crossbones, Diamondback, and even some of the Deadpool interns. Considering how deadly some of his students turned out to be, it goes to show just how dangerous Taskmaster can truly be. Hired Assassin. Eventually, Taskmaster once again set out as a solo act, making a name for himself as a hired assassin. Taskmaster's unique skills quickly established his reputation and earned him a lot of respect despite being a large-scale villain. During this time, Taskmaster would also cross paths with several Marvel heroes, doing fairly well against some bigger names. While those encounters established his reputation, they also landed him in some tight spots and eventually prison. Here, Taskmaster would come to join the team known as the Thunderbolts, a group very similar to DC's Suicide Squad. Notable opponents. Over the years, Taskmaster has gone up against some fairly big names in Marvel Comics. The hired assassin has held his own against both Iron Man and Captain America at the same time. Eventually, Taskmaster decided to flee only because he knew he couldn't take them both down, and he believed that running was a better option than prison. He has also established quite a grudge against Moon Knight, as both are formidable fighters. Taskmaster has even faced the likes of many Spider-Men and even been successful in some of his capturing contracts. Though he usually loses for plot purposes, he has still gone up against a wide variety of Marvel's A-listers. Even though Taskmaster was one of the main villains of the Black Widow movie, this wouldn't be the character's first appearance outside of the comics. Taskmaster has made appearances in TV shows like Ultimate Spider-Man and Avengers Assemble. Furthermore, he has also made appearances in some of the Marvel's animated features. However, his most famous appearance is likely in Marvel's Spider-Man for PS4. While the game could have certainly used him in a better way, it is still nice to see the character gain traction in other media. Thunderbolts. Taskmaster also served as a member of the Thunderbolts for a time. During the events of Civil War once again, Taskmaster was assigned to fight against Captain America and his forces. Following Cap's surrender, though, Taskmaster was once again arrested. However, he would not be imprisoned for long, as Deadpool would eventually break him out just to fight him in a rematch and prove himself superior. Taskmaster is such a good fighter that he managed to humiliate Deadpool to the point where Deadpool broke him out of prison just to challenge him to a rematch. That isn't enough to show you Taskmaster's reputation is well deserved, then nothing will be. Taskmaster's powers cause amnesia. While his powers have allowed him to amass a vast and instantly recallable catalog of fighting styles collected from various Marvel heroes and villains, Taskmaster's unique abilities are a double sword. As he continues to accumulate abilities to add to his arsenal, his personal memories have slowly become erased in the process. With each new fighting style he logs for future replication, Taskmaster forgets another piece of his past, which at this point includes most of his life before becoming a costume mercenary, including his original identity, given name, and family. Taskmaster was a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. While Taskmaster remained a mostly enigmatic antagonist for over 30 years following his debut, his 2010 self-titled miniseries finally began to shed some light upon his mysterious backstory. As it was revealed, the man who would become Taskmaster was originally a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent named Tony Masters, who was recruited due to his natural gifts of eidetic memory and physical action replication. At this time, this ability has not yet immediate, and Tony had to spend some time studying the moves of others before being able to perform them himself. During the course of the one particular mission, however, Masters would consume an experimental serum, resulting in an increase in his brain's ability to process and retain information, turning his retention instantaneous. As a side effect of this upgrade gradually erased his personal memories, Tony would eventually completely forget his time as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, ironically going on to battle against the organization on numerous occasions. Taskmaster was married. As a side effect of his abilities, Taskmaster has forgotten most of the details of his past before donning his current identity, including his previous interpersonal relationships. In his past life as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, Tony Masters once frequently executed missions alongside Agent Mercedes Merced, his then wife. When Masters' powers began to override his personal memories, Agent Merced took on the role of his mysterious handler, assigning him his early mercenary missions while secretly taking notes of his predicament for S.H.I.E.L.D. intel. Despite being reminded of his past married life during subsequent interactions with Merced, Taskmaster is cursed to always inevitably forget the life they once shared. He is both a hero and a villain. Throughout his mercenary career, Taskmaster has typically always followed the money. To this end, he has participated in training and team-ups of both heroes and villains alike, always entirely dependent upon what suits his immediate interest. In his earliest appearances, Taskmaster ran a secret school for henchmen, training operatives for terrorist groups such as Hydra and AIM, and coming into conflict with heroes such as Captain America and the Avengers. More recently, he was pardoned and recruited to train the young superpowered recruits at Camp Hammond, better known as the Avengers Academy. As an instructor at the school, Taskmaster fought alongside Marvel's heroes in multiple campaigns, but didn't hesitate to change allegiances when the next lucrative opportunity presented itself, unflinchingly betraying the heroes who had taken him in. Taskmaster helped train U.S. Agent. When the original Captain America, Steve Rogers, abandoned the iconic role due to increased pressures to operate on behalf of a government he didn't agree with, the United States Commission on Superhuman Activities quickly sought to replace him with a more agreeable agent. When decorated soldier John Walker was selected to inherit the role, it was clear that he would need extra training in order to handle the associated expectations. In a typical bureaucratic fashion, the Commission sought to hire the best possible combat instructor for the price, regardless of any sword past they may have had. Knowing that he already possessed an exact photographic knowledge of the fighting style of the original, the CSA hired Taskmaster to train Walker in the optimal use of Captain America's legendary shield. Walker would serve as Captain America for a time before becoming the U.S. agent, but his heroic career would have never been successful if not for the Taskmaster's initial training. I hope you enjoyed this look at Taskmaster in Avengers issue number 196. If you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe and consider ringing the bell for future notifications as well. And join us back here next week for the first spotlight for 2024, where we'll celebrate the first appearance of the Silver Surfer and the first cameo appearance of Galactus in the pages of Fantastic Four issue number 48 from 1965. So everyone have a safe and happy new year. Stay safe, God bless, and take care. See ya.